In this video, I will try to find guilties in the obesity epidemic, diabetes epidemic, and the addiction to junk food. Is there a primary culprit? Is this a person? We will try to find out next. So do not forget to ring the bell and subscribe Foodie Eyes channel. We are starting right away. The history of using dairy products is not as old as many think, and its development is very late in relation to other nutritional developments. While researchers agree that agriculture began about 10,000 years ago, the evidence on dairy products is much later. It is true that in the 9th millennium BC, humans have domesticated cattle. But the first evidence we have for milking is only from the 4th millennium BC. And it seems that everything started in North Africa and in the Middle East. In ancient cultures, milk was not only a source of nutrition, but also a pagan mystical component. In milking pictures of Egypt, we see tears streaming down cows' eyes, regretting about the milk that was taken from her. The stage in which humanity has moved to cattle exploitation beyond eating meat to create products like milk, leather, wool and more is called the sub-product revolution. This revolution centered on the use of milk and dairy products developed in a very limited region whose center is in the Middle East. The milk is rich in high-quality protein, sugar, fat and calcium, and is easy to process because it comes in a liquid form. We estimate that the people realized that they could produce more food from the cow if they will use the milk instead of kill the cow and use the body. Today we know that over time more calories can be derived from the cattle milk than from her flesh. According to the Bible, we know that during its writing, most of the milk was produced from goats and sheep. Most of the herds domesticated throughout history were goats and sheep. There was a balance between goats that they were resistant to heat and dryness from sheep who were more resistant to cold. It seems that the consumption of pasture milk, which is cow's milk, began in Europe, which was rich in huge green areas. Over the past few years, there has been an increasing number of conclusions that milk consumption as basic component of diet is not as effective as the food industry and certain parts of the medicine industry told us. But it is getting worse when milk becomes an industry. Intensive use of synthetic products and eating them excessively and without listening to our bodies impede the natural ability to recognize through the senses of taste and the feeling of food in the digestive system some of the dangers that lie in wait for us. Besides, the milk itself is not at all like the original milk. In fact, milk has become a synthetic product that humans are not adapted to effectively disassemble its components. We will touch here of two main points that causes milk to be unhealthy. Lactose intolerance is a major issue when talking about milk. Many people suffer from lactose intolerance due to a lack of the biological enzyme lactase that in the human body. The lactase enzyme is responsible for dissolving lactose, which is the milk sugar. Biologically, the human body stops producing the enzyme at the end of infancy. Despite conventional wisdom, the enzyme does not continue to work even if you continue to consume milk. Pasteurization is a clear fact when we talk about milk. Pasteurization is a part of a series of food preservation process that has been developed in the 19th century, which replaced ancient conservation methods. These ancient methods, which have survived throughout history and are used today in several regions of the world, created cooperation with the good bacteria to fight the bad bacteria, while the new conservation methods was aimed at destroying all bacteria in food products. The theory behind the Pasteur method was published by French chemist Louis Pasteur in the mid-19th century. It is called the microbial theory. This theory simplistically states that the human body is sterile and what causes infections and diseases are bacteria from the outside, mainly from the air. Following this theory, it was assumed that by destroying the bacteria in food and sealing it from the outside, this approach has dominated medicine and the food industry. We already know now that this basic theory is incorrect. Although the process destroys the bacteria, our bodies are not sterile. And in the whole nature there are good microorganisms that create a necessary balance for a healthy life. By pasteurization, we do make the milk purified of bacteria. But in the short term, we do not provide the important bacteria in our digestive system. And in the long run, the attempt to destroy the bacteria leaves the area open for the stronger bacteria, those who can hurt us even more. A second point that places the milk as a harmful product rather than a nutrient is the homogeneous. When we buy milk, it is usually homogenized milk. But we do not always know what that means. Milk that stands for a while after milking is separated into its natural components: protein, fat, and milk. This separation does not spoil the milk, but creates lumps and deposits that are unpleasant to the modern consumer. Therefore, they found a method to prevent this separation: firing the milk through a microscopic tube at very high pressure. And so the molecules break down and cannot connect again. In fact, by killing the whole life of the milk, we drink a product that is not in its natural chemically state. This method also used for other products such as soft drinks, natural juices, and more. On the next chapter, we will continue to examine who made us fat. So subscribe Foodie Eyes and get the best foodie videos on your main screen. Thanks for watching, see you on the next.